Welcome to the darkness. Welcome to the black canvas. Welcome to David's cheesy, deep voice. Yes, I'm being a little silly. What I want to do is try and make this video and the next one a little bit more relaxed, because what we're going to be doing is going through slides. You're going to have my voice to guide you through the slides, but I don't want to bore you, because straight up in business, what I've often heard going through slides referred to as, well, it's referred to as death by PowerPoint. I don't want to kill you with my slides. I want to try and just have maybe a little fun, obviously help you a lot, and I want to do that by providing a large-scale overview of plot structure, specifically the 4 parts here. In the next video, we're going to go through the major plot milestones. We will touch on one of the plot milestones here, but primarily we're going to focus on the 4 parts, just showing you how we can break these things up and then actually connect them all as well, including something you already created in the past, which was your story heart. This is what it looks like in my mind. I created all of these images. Your story heart might not be quite as cheesy or creepy, whichever one you want to call it, but in my mind, the story heart, it's got tendrils coming off of it. It's got circuitry. It's got life, because your story heart is what gives life to your entire story. And of course, in a previous module, we reviewed how there are 4 core elements coming off your story heart. And they're going to give life to your entire story. Yes, I sound like a broken record. But what I want to show you is basically let me overlay some more color and simplicity on top of what you're looking at now, because these are really simple definitions for your setting, your protagonist, your antagonist, and your stakes, and even your story heart. But underneath, you can see that circuitry, that life, those tendrils. You can see it living beneath all of the simple definitions. I just want you to keep that in mind. What we're trying to do is simplify some pretty complex things that it takes to actually create and write an amazing story. One of the other things that is, complex, it is challenging, is plot structure and creating a plot line that's going to drive your story so that you can actually knock out a fast draft. Because coming off of your story heart is your plot line. And your plot line, of course, is what you need to get completely dialed in to knock out a fast draft. And in the beginning, it's usually flat, doesn't have a lot of life, but then you start coming up with ideas, starts to take a little bit of shape. Maybe you're not exactly sure how to organize those ideas or where to place them along an entire storyline. That's what I want to help you with here. I want to break it up in just to 4 parts to begin with. I want to help give life to your plot line that you've got circulating throughout your dome. Maybe you don't have a ball dome, but your brain. And in my mind, they're colors, and they're broken up. But then those colors, they start having life come off of them as well. Everything's got a deeper meaning to it. It's not always just super straightforward. So be patient as you try and basically process and compare some of these different parts to different stories you're going to be looking at, including your own. But let's jump into it, right? You got part 1. And part 1 is status quo. It's basically a setup. What you're going to be doing from the beginning of your story on page 1 to about the 25% area of your entire story is just setting everything up. You're going to be establishing your characters, major and minor, the setting, some stakes. Basically going to be establishing some story questions that you are going to be answering throughout the remaining 3 parts of plot structure. But here's where I'm actually going to do a little bit of a spoiler alert and show you one of the plot milestones. We're going to go into it a little bit more, well, actually much more, in the next video, but it's critical that I show it to you here. And I'm talking about your story goal launch. You know what a story goal is. It's the one primary objective that your protagonist wants to achieve throughout the story. At the end of part 1 status quo, the setup is where you're going to do and actually execute your story goal launch. You're going to make it crystal clear to your reader exactly what your protagonist wants. Because as you can see there, all the scenes inside the setup are ramping up to that one moment. Okay, let's move on to the next part because we are going to get deeper into that in the next video. I just wanted you to be aware of that because we are going to be referring to your story goal launch in the next 3 parts of plot structure. Part 2 is going to occur from about the 26% marker to the 50% marker, and it is called reactivity. It's basically caution. Your protagonist is going to be reacting to the story goal that you launched. They're going to be seeking information, looking for help, regrouping, learning, processing a lot of new information inside the story world that your protagonist is going even deeper into. You show them a lot of new things, and at the same time, when you're showing those new things to your protagonist, you're actually showing it to your reader as well. Next up is part 3, and that is at the 51% marker. And it's going to go until about the 0.75% marker at the 75% area. And it's called proactivity. It's basically where your protagonist is going to go on the attack. And again, we're going to go over this in more detail and show you how the plot milestones connect these different parts. But for right now, we're keeping it as a large-scale overview, right? But anyways, in part 3's proactivity, also known as the attack, your protagonist is charging forward to solve the story goal. Here's where they get aggressive. Here's where they actually start gaining the skill set that they're going to need and all the information that they need to actually complete and achieve their story goal, assuming that's what you give them at the end. And then in part 4, you have lucidity. It's also known as the resolution. You're going to tie up all the loose ends. You're going to answer every last story question that you established inside the previous 3 parts, but primarily part 1. Your protagonist is basically going to emerge as the hero here. They're going to conclude the story goal, and they're going to use all the courage and their brilliance and just everything that they learn throughout your story to go ahead and give the reader an amazing ending. And that's going to happen from the 76% mark all the way to the end, as you can see right there. Okay, that's a large-scale overview. You can see it's still living there. It's a little bit faded behind a little bit of the black canvas that I had created. But you can see it right there. And I'm hoping you can see it even further when you jump into the worksheet that I've provided. I'm going to task you to try a couple different approaches to get to know the parts a little bit better, and also to start brainstorming inside of your story along with some of the stories maybe that you really enjoy.